Hi guys, this is Katja with Creators Image Studio. Remember this card? This was a gatefold card that I created a while ago, and some of you asked me could I do a tutorial. So this is it guys, this is the video tutorial for that particular gatefold card. And we start off with a piece of cardstock that measures 7 centimeters by 21.5 centimeters. So 7 by 21. We start off with a score mark to create a glue strip for your double-sided tape. So let's start off with that. And I am doing my scoring with my paper trimmer and a scoring blade. And the first score mark is 1.5 centimeters. All right, and let's fold this one. And then burnish the fold. And here's your glue strip. Now you can do one of two things. You can either do another score in the middle of this piece of cardstock here and then fold it. But in my experience, I'm always crooked. Don't ask me how, but I'm always crooked. So when I score, then I do the fold and then it's crooked. So what I am going to do is not score it, but just fold it over and then burnish it and force it to be straight. Right? But maybe you can do your score marks straight, but I don't seem to be able to. I blame my paper trimmer, by the way. I have a Fiskars paper trimmer and I think it's notorious for being crooked. My cuts are always crooked as well. Very, very annoying. Anyway, so here is your fold, and it seems that I haven't done my cut straight either, so here is a bit of, let's say, overflow. This is straight, so what I'm going to do is, just cut it to make it straight. Doesn't matter, because once you've decorated it, no one will notice this. So there you go. Now you are going to attach some glue. Either you can do wet glue or double-sided tape. I'm working with double-sided tape, and I'm working with for this strip I'm using the 1/2-inch tape, hence the 1.5 centimeters. Because that is slightly wider than the tape. So it fits perfectly. Always burnish to get a good stick from your tape. And I always taper as well. So, just cut a small sliver like this. Now we are going to close this pocket, because that's what it's going to be, a pocket. So we will have to close the bottom here as well. I am not going to use my double-sided tape for the bottom, because then everything you will put into the pocket will snag, it will get stuck. So always use wet glue for these kinds of sealing the bottoms of the bottom of your pocket. I always start by removing the tape, because if I do it the other way around, then my wet glue will dry and won't have a good stick. And then stick it down. Now my paper is 220 grams paper. And this is quite a heavy cardstock, so I will need to do some extra burnishing here to get my glue to really, really stick. The thinner your paper, the better the stick, of course, but on the other hand, your card won't be as sturdy as you might want it to be. Now we have a cute little pocket here. So this is the basis for your card, and now we are going to attach the flaps that will make it a gatefold card. I've already pre-cut them, and they are 7 centimeters by 10 centimeters, so 7 by 10. So I'm going to score 1 centimeter on both flaps. Fold again. Burnish the fold. Now this tape, of course, is too wide for the 1 centimeter glue flaps there. So I'm going to do a smaller tape. So I'm going to use the 3/8 of an inch tape. One advantage of wet glue in this case would be that it gives you some wriggle room. So if you glue it on crooked, you can still move it a bit, adjust it a bit, which you can do, of course, with tape. The reason that I am using tape in this case anyway is because my cardstock is so heavy, and I don't think the wet glue will hold immediately. So I would have to hold it down for a while, and I'm too impatient for that. So I'm going to gamble in thinking that I am not going to be crooked. We'll see about that, right? But first, before we glue those flaps, if you want to do like a border punch, do it now, because now you can move around freely. And I am going to do a border punch. This is my EK Success Punch. Alright, now having done the punches, you can see that my flowers here are of course sort of broken, right? And I don't like that effect personally. So what I'm going to do is cut those 2 petals, let's say, away. Alright, so here is your 2 flaps. So you've done the glue strip, you've tapered, you've punched your borders, and you've done some finishing touches if you wish. And here is your pocket. Now be sure before you attach these flaps that the opening of your pocket is top side. I've made a mistake several times that I just attached everything and did the whole decorating thing, and then it turned out that I had my pocket upside down. You do not want to do that, believe you me. So double check, opening top side. Now you can do your flaps, and you will just attach them on the left side and on the right side, and try to be straight. And I'm talking to myself mostly here. Now there's 2 more things construction-wise that we're going to do. We're going to prepare a small border pocket, sort of a punched border that you can tuck your little tags behind, and we're going to need the back pocket. So let's start with the back pocket. You're going to need a small piece of your cardstock. And this one measures 8 centimeters by 5. So I'm going to score again at 1 centimeter. And if you wish, you can do like a corner rounder or a corner punch here before you attach it, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use my purple corner chomper by We Are Memory Keepers. Your pocket is going to be on the right side of your card, so you want to punch this corner here. So if this is your glue strip, punch the left top corner. Now I won't seal this pocket, so I will just attach this flap here, because first, if I want to seal it, I will have to mat it first, and I want to mat on top of the glue strip, but before I seal it, right? Hope I'm making sense here. So remove your glue strip, or the back of your tape, your tape backing. And just leave it at that for the moment. So it's a flap by now. So you will mat this then you will put wet glue here and seal it. Okay. Now for the punched border here. Same thing actually, we will prepare it, but we will not glue it down yet because first we're going to have to mat. Okay, so let's take some measurements. 9.8 centimeters wide, which is measuring from fold to fold of the flaps, right? So 9.8 centimeters wide. So this is the right width. See, you can still close your card. Now I want my border pocket here not to be too high up, because I like the effect of a low, just like a border and then tucking all kinds of niceness behind it. So first I'm going to have to punch it and then cut. If I cut first, then the punching is more difficult, because then I will only have a very small strip here and then I can hardly maneuver it. So first do your punching. Okay, now eventually you will cut your piece down to about 1.5 centimeters, counting from the edge here. I thought I had filmed that for you, but it turns out I did not press record, so I'm sorry about that, because I did do the entire cutting, etc. But you know, I'm sorry. But it's not very difficult. Just cut it and leave about 1.5 centimeter here so that you have some room for your wet glue here and also some room to tuck your tags behind. Don't use double-sided tape here, again, because your tags will get stuck. Now don't glue it down just yet. This is just preparation, because as I said, first we have to mat this piece here and then you glue this on top of it and mat this little strip here. Okay, so I'm going to do some matting now and I'll get back to you when I'm done, and then we'll do all the rest of the construction. All right, and we're back. I have matted the inside of the card and I used a scrap mat. So now it's time to create our border pocket, and I'm going to add some wet glue here and a little bit here. Now for these two flaps, I have prepared 2 printed mats, and now I'm going to glue them down. So there you go, and this says, "We're going to miss you," and here, "Forget us not," with a smiley. So this is going to be a goodbye card, waving goodbye to one of our colleagues. And I have also prepared 3 tiny tags here. And in Dutch it says "Heel veel succes," which means something like good luck, or we wish you a lot of success. And these 3 I'm going to ink around the edges and then stick in this pocket here. So I'm using double-sided paper, so it doesn't need any finishing or backing up. There you go, very festive. Now I had already prepared this one, so it's just a beautiful specialty paper with a butterfly. And now we're going to have to do the front. Now let's take a look at the original design. So here we see that the front is matted with 2 strips of paper, actually a scrap mat, and a ribbon and a flower. So let's do that for this card as well. Now I've already prepared a scrap mat, so using 2 pieces of paper here and creating them into a scrap mat with adhesive tape. Cut it to size first, then inked around the edges. And now we're going to attach the ribbon and the flower. And this flower I've prepared as well, because I've added some stickles, copper colored stickles, to all of its petals. So the first thing we're going to do is add the ribbon to the scrap mat, like so. And for that I'm going to use some double-sided tape. And the tape is a tiny bit smaller or narrower than the ribbon, so it's a perfect fit. Always burnish to get a good stick. Remove your tape backing and then stick it down in one go and try to be straight, and I'm again talking to myself. Turn it around and then fold your ribbon around. Now this gives you the great finish here and no fluffy edges or whatever. So very clean, right? Okay, now we're going to glue this piece to the card, after which we're going to do the flower. Now all this time I'm preparing my hot glue gun, so if you have one, make sure that it's hot. Now for the center of this flower, to finish that, you could do a brad, or like I'm going to do a piece of bling, and this is a piece of bling with a dimensional sticker already attached to it. So this is your front and your inside. So the only thing left to do is the back side. Now we had already prepared this flap, which we would turn into a pocket, right? So we're going to mat this and then stick this pocket down, mat it as well. So the only thing missing now is a tag here and of course a tag here in the top pocket. So let's not forget that one, right? So what you're going to do is take some measurements and cut your pieces. Now don't forget, we sealed the pocket here, so we can't really know how deep the pocket really is. So what I usually do with these kind of sealed pockets is I take a random piece of cardstock, I put it inside the pocket that it fits, you know, comfortably, and so not just ram it down, but you know, like you would a tag, right? And then I take a pencil and mark the cardstock just at the edge of this pocket here, because I want this tag not to stick out, but you know, to go entirely inside. Now I can measure the depth of the pocket very precisely. So I am measuring 5.9. So what I'm going to do, because this is just the cardstock and we are going to layer it on both sides with some design paper, so it will become a wee bit thicker. So I always take that into account. So I'm not going to do 5.9 exactly, but I'm guessing 5.7. So I'm gonna subtract like 2 millimeters approximately. So 5.7 will be the height of my tag. So the only thing left now to do is measure the width. So I'm trying to be precise, but it's a bit more difficult. So I have to measure the opening here, right? The opening itself is about 9.9, but again, your cardstock on the one hand will need some room to wriggle, plus it will be thicker because of the design paper. So I am going to subtract like 0.6 centimeters, which would be about 1/4 inch. So 9.3 by 5.7 will be my measurements for this tag here. Now as for the tag here, let's do some random measurements again. So it sits comfortably right about here, because we seal this pocket as well, right? So you always lose a bit of room here. So again, I'm going to, well, I'm not going to mark it because it doesn't need to be precise, but I am going to measure, take a measurement, and I want my tag about here. So let's do a nice rounded number. Let's do 5 centimeters height, and let's do 8.5. So 5 by 8.5 is what I'm going to do here. See, there you go. Now you could do some corner chomping, which I will do And you could do it on like here on the short sides or on the long sides or on all four corners. And then you can mat and do your embellishing. So I'll get back to you when I'm done. Alright, so I've prepared the tag and I've matted it on both sides. Put an eyelet through, copper colored star here, and then some ribbon to pull it out. So let's stick it in here. And we are talking about the top loading pocket. So let's push it in. Look. So it's a perfect fit. The entire tag has sort of disappeared into the card just as I wanted without getting stuck. As you know, I adjusted the height, right? And then here are the two pieces of ribbon, so you can just pull, and there it is. Now I designed this tag to be handwritten on, so hence the light colored paper here and also here, should the person who commissioned this want to use both sides to write on. So that is the trick when you're doing tags with several layers, like I have 2 layers of cardstock, not to measure too tightly. Now as for the tag here, I've decided to use my corner rounder, so do it like this and then put it in here like so. So it will actually be a card in portrait mode, which you tuck away in landscape mode. So I prepared a piece of design paper and printed a text in portrait mode. And then I found out that there's a larger margin here at the bottom than here at the top. So, you know, I don't like that very much. So I have decided to fill this up with some embellishing here, and I chose a piece of ribbon. So I'm first going to attach the ribbon and then attach it to the tag. And I chose a piece of gold colored ribbon. So let's remove the tape backing and stick it down as symmetrically as possible. Okay, so again fold the ribbon around, and there we have a small embellishment. Now I'm going to glue it to the tag. So let's tuck it in the corner pocket here. And look, it has a nice fit. You could also do, if you have some pictures of the person you're going to give this to, you could also do a photo on a photo mat, right? Okay, so that's it. This was the tutorial. Let me show you one more time. So this is the finished card. Alright guys, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye!